Yo, what they do. I'm your host, Aaron J. Jackson, also known as Marvin Bay, and I welcome you to the 42nd episode of Behind the Beard podcast, presented by the FGO Network. And right here, we got so many words, so many titles I could put him in. Like, this is my teacher, graphic designer. Shit, I don't. He got so many things I don't even know. I can't even keep up with him. And he's my teacher. But we got Robert Pousye Joseph.
Yes, sir.
Mm.
What's up?
Chilling, man. After school, we vibing.
I know, right?
It's crazy. I'm interviewing you because it's like I see you every day. So
Yeah, it's kind of funny, man.
yeah. So for the people that don't know who you are, introduce yourself.
Just like you said, I teach graphic design, and my name is Robert P. Joseph. The P stands for Pousye.
Mm-hmm.
And Pousye, I wasn't born with the middle name, so I put the middle name on my name. So
Wow, yeah.
just for branding purposes, I go by Pousye, and most people that know me, they know Pousye.
That's interesting. But I know you more than just a graphic designer. Explain like the other things or other ventures that you do as well too.
When people ask me what I do, I always tell them I'm a knowledge broker.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's the first time you hear knowledge broker, what it is, whatever skill you have, I can help you make money with that skill.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was born and raised in Haiti, but it was hard for me. The only way to survive is to be a hustler.
Mm-hmm. So that jumps into the next question I have. How was your upbringing growing up in Haiti, and how was that upbringing?
I think it was fun. Growing up with my mom and my siblings in Haiti.
Right.
She got 6 kids. I'm the fourth one.
Mm-hmm.
And from kindergarten, I always been doing what I do, which is art.
Mm-hmm.
So, go to school, do art, eat, sleep, and repeat the cycle.
Mm-hmm. And what part of Haiti are you from?
The capital is called Port-au-Prince.
Port-au-Prince, okay.
And my mom and my dad, they from outside of the capital.
Mm-hmm. So as growing up as a kid in Haiti, what drew you into art?
Just like I said before, in kindergarten in Haiti, as a kid, the first thing they teach you is colors, scribble.
Wow.
Like that's the first thing. Every single person should be an artist because that's the first thing they teach you in school.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know the colors. You need to sketch, do whatever you're doing. That's the first thing. Ever since then, I stick to it.
Mm-hmm. And you apply that to everything you do.
Yeah, ever since then I stick to it.
So, growing up in Haiti, like, were they, like, anybody that was, that inspired you to pursue art,
He
fully?
was a student just like that when I was in school. He always doing art. So, whenever he's done with an art, I take the same paper, go home, try to do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, he was the one that lead me to art. But when I was doing painting, the only thing I know is people around me doing the same art, because I never knew anybody else doing the same thing. So
right.
I was stick to my local artists, and that's what I've been doing.
Mm-hmm. What were the things you were doing in Haiti, as a young artist, that was making you have people look at your art more?
The thing is, I didn't have that desire for other people to see my art. Because in Haiti, art is survival. You have to do the art to eat. Mm-hmm. So my art is unique. So I was trying to produce the art every week. When we're done, we go to the marketplace and sell them.
Wow.
So people already ready to get the art because they're gonna resell it. So it's like you wholesale your art.
Right.
Because people from the U.S., Republic Dominican, they came to Haiti, but the art from you, the artists, and they can resell it in the studio.
Well, that's interesting because on my episode 40, I interviewed my mentors. He photographed a lot in Haiti around like 86 to 97. Mm-hmm. So he used to just tell me like how it was
the
like
art
world and just the people as a whole. And that's interesting because when you travel overseas or when you go to like places like Haiti or Jamaica, because I've been to Jamaica when I was younger. And I seen the perspective,
exactly
how the people were living here versus the States, and I can only imagine. Like I used to go like to little shops, like people that used to actually make their art and then sell it, and that And that, by you saying that, it makes a whole total sense. It's just people you selling your art, and then they could take it to the States and just.
Yeah, because we didn't do it as luxury. We have to do it to survive, and we do it.
Yeah, and it puts us perspective, because when you get it, people in the States cherish the art a little bit more because it's in Haiti or it's in Jamaica or whatever the case may be. So, you was in Haiti. When did you transition to move to the States, and how was that like for you?
I left Haiti back in 2002, on November 2002. I remember that day. I get here with the help of my dad, because he's been living in the state forever. So when he bring me here, I was living with him. It was a challenge because I was 19. That's when I left. But been living with my mom for my whole life. The separation is kind of hard for me. So it took me time to really get to settle down, to really know, what, this is what it is. That's right now is my home. I need to accept that and live like that.
Right. So what was your mindset like, just coming from Haiti into a big city like Miami? Like that's
the thing is, I didn't know what to expect, because the only thing I know about the U.S. was from TV, from BET, from the music. So
they were showing BET and all that in the Haiti, right?
Yeah, of course. So I think the lifestyle, once you travel, you're gonna live like P Diddy and all them people, because that's the one you see every day, like the jewels, the shoes, and everything. But I didn't know you have to work so hard to get it, man.
Yeah.
Because by watching TV, you think it's easy, but people don't really tell you what you have to go through to get to live their life. Exactly. You never know the behind the scene.
But coming from, I can only imagine, like, you coming from Haiti and then you moving to the States in a city like Miami. It's a lot. Like you mentioned about working. Like, what was the mindset of just working hard towards your goals? Like, what was you're here now, so what's next in that mindset? That makes sense.
Being Haitian and living with Haitian parents, the goal is get a job and pay the bill, man.
Right.
They don't really care what you do, as long as you have to pay the bills. After like 3-6 months, you have to get a job, no matter what it is, to help with the bills. That's the ultimate goal. And if you got people in Haiti that you have to help out, you have to get a job. That's primary. Like, it's not about school. But English was the big thing, because if you didn't go to English school, how are you going to get a decent job?
Right.
You have to be able to communicate with people. So I remember the days that I was learning English through ESOL classes. It was fun. Those are the fun days, man.
Yeah. So how did you end up adapting? Like, was it a culture shock to you as well, too?
It was a culture shock, but living in one like little Haiti is almost the same in Haiti, because there's a lot of Haitian living. People speak Creole, like the culture, the food, like you don't really miss the stuff in Haiti, because but if I was in New York or anywhere else, like they don't have a lot of Haitian, it will be way harder to adapt.
So when you moved here, around your peoples and stuff like that, like were they, like when you arrived and everything, I guess because your dad was there and he was already there and knew people, like was it easy to get along with people around the community?
Yeah, because the first thing, they tried to sign you up for school, and being an ESOL student, there was a lot of Haitian at the school. So we're still dealing with the same issue, because there's a lot of Haitian. We used to speak English. That's the main goal. So it's not really a big deal back then, because we adapt to it.
Right. So you're in Miami now. You're adapting, but I know back of your mind, you still have art in back of your mind, most likely, right?
Yeah, that was the challenge. Like, how I'm gonna still doing what I was doing in Haiti,
right?
Because if I used to make art in Haiti and sell it, so if I make art here, it would be way easier to sell.
Right.
But it's not the story, man. It's a different challenge. Yeah.
So, like, speaking of that, going back to Haiti, what was the type of art you was? I know what it is, but for the listeners, like, what was the type of art you was doing in Haiti? Like,
there's a lot of abstracts in Haiti, but the style that I've been doing is the marketplace. Like, they show you different people that's selling art, that's selling anything in the marketplace. Right. So that's why my art always about selling.
Did you do like murals? Did you do?
I used to do. In Haiti, they call it calligraphy. So what you do, even in school, churches, they don't make banners or sign like that. So you have to physically write in the wall with pen. So I used to do that a lot.
Oh, from scratch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Like the
then,
lettering from scratch, you have to do it. It's not printing the banners and stick it on the wall, like everything from scratch.
and I can only imagine what the technology was back then, because it's
Oh,
like
man. No.
it wasn't too much.
No, you have to be skillful to do it.
Wow. So you had to get like rulers and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like,
Ladder, everything you have to do to make it happen. Yeah.
wow. But do you cherish those moments the more older you get? Like, being in Haiti and doing that from
Yes,
scratch?
and I tried one time here, and I said I'll never do it again. I'll never do it again because that's what I introduced to graphic design.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So going into that, you still trying to figure out a way to get your art seen or whatever the case may be. So how did you transition into going to school for commercial arts? Like, how did you, after ESOL and everything like that, how did you go into
That's
arts?
a funny story right now. We at Lindsay Hopkins, right?
Right.
That's my second school coming from Haiti.
Mm-hmm.
So I took the ESOL classes here at Lindsay. So when I think they have the program for the art, but I didn't know what commercial art is because I never heard of the word commercial art.
Mm-hmm.
But I was going to Art Institute to sign up for fine art because I was a fine artist in Haiti doing painting and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the tuition was too much, and I just came from here.
I already know how
I didn't have anybody to support financial aid. I wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked to a counselor here. He said, there's the art program. So when they introduced the commercial art, they say, I'm going to do everything in the computer.
Right.
Keep that in mind. I came from Haiti. I didn't really use computer that much. So I'm wondering how I'm going to use computer to do art.
Right.
So, I take a leap of faith and do it, and I fall in love with commercial art because that's the only thing I could afford back then.
So, what was the things you taught that was taught in commercial art? I know because I'm in the class. But what was the thing, especially around that time? Like, what would you?
For people that don't know, the difference is when you find art, you use canvas, you use acrylic or painting, or you can use paper, pastel to create your art.
Right.
But commercial art, you do a lot of art in the computer, but sometimes they don't have to be art as we see art. It can be a logo, can be done as a commercial art. Designing a business card, a banner, a sign, all those are commercial art stuff.
Yeah. For our listeners, like the stuff that I learn on a day-to-day basis here in this class is just crazy because, when I first arrived, like the same mindset, I didn't know commercial art. I was just thinking it's art. You know what I'm saying? I knew it was graphics involved, but I didn't know it was to that extent of printing.
It is.
All that. So, it's a lot of things that goes deep in dive. Like right now, we learn about branding.
Yeah, because graphic design is part of commercial art. So commercial art is the bigger spectrum to it.
And it falls back into what I just said, like branding and stuff like that. And you mentioned
especially
that earlier.
marketing,
Yeah, like, yeah, man, y'all go sign up to Lindsay Hopkins. We in Miami. Shit, it ain't it. Tell them like when I first started, man, I'm like, yo, what's the pen tool like?
Yeah, because we use two main software, which is Photoshop and Illustrator. So there's a learning curve to the software. So if you never heard about the software, it's challenging when you're learning them.
Right.
But once you get used to it, it's pretty easy, man.
Right.
And you're doing pretty good, man. You remember your first art compared to
I still got it.
What you're doing now?
Yeah.
It's
like,
pretty good. It's all about consistency, man.
Like today, I just did my regular. Something told me I've been sitting on this like logo idea for the longest, and next thing I made my own little letter.
Creativity.
Yeah, I just made my own little letter and just y'all sign up to the class, man.
Yeah.
So how did around that time? How did the school form your artistry?
I think that was in 2004, and 2003, 2004. So when I know the only option I have is taking the commercial art class,
right?
I didn't have a computer home. They was using Mac computer. This is the first
Around
time I know about Mac computer.
Right.
I'm like, the mouse is not the same. We have the big floppy disk back then.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I was humbled to learn. So if I didn't know anything, I was willing to let people know, you know what, I need help.
Right.
Keep that in mind. I was dealing with the computer I never used before, the language I'm struggling with, because I have to read the books. So I was struggling with the
Wow.
English language, the book, plus the Photoshop, the program I was learning. So it was a lot for me back then to learn the commercial art class.
Wow. You know, that's a lot of people. And then it goes back into, you know, when I see like certain people in the classroom, it kind of similar. It kind of.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people take stuff for granted, because you have to be able to read English to understand the program. I was learning English while I'm taking the class. It was a challenge.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what do you think was the key elements you learned that you apply today with your art and the way you teach as well?
My background in art in Haiti helped me a lot, because I knew how to sketch. I've been doing art in Haiti.
Yeah.
So when I was learning about the element of art, principle of design, so it was easy for me to apply those because I've been doing art in Haiti.
Right.
The only thing I needed to do, I just using the computers. So it was a piece of cake. It was really nice to me. But it's funny, I was taking that class at the same school that I'm teaching that class.
Yeah,
You see what I mean?
that's a plot twist.
Exactly. I didn't know if I was going to teach the class when I was taking the class. So that's the funny thing about it. But the fact that I was learning back then helped me to teach it. Because I still remember the way they were
Teaching you.
exactly back then. So it was easy for me to make the transition.
Right. So why did you overall think that being a graphic designer, well, not only just that, why did you think, like, by everything that you learned over time, even by being in school, you wanted to be a graphic designer?
That's a nice question. The thing is, art, which is the background that I have in Haiti, graphic design was the only thing that close to it. Because I didn't see myself being a nurse, doctor, none of those, because I need freedom. And graphic designer give you freedom because he gives you the option to be creative. You can create your own stuff. Nobody needs to tell you what to create. So once you create it, once I knew I can make money while I'm taking the class, I got sold. Because you don't have to work for someone to make money as a graphic designer. You can create your own hustle and do it. That's why I stick to graphic design.
Wow. And what did you think that, you know, by doing all that, you applied the graphic design perspective, but then you also, like, what I'm learning as well too, the branding perspective. Like, how did you learn all that? What made you like pursue everything else when it comes down to the commercial art aspect into what you do today?
Nowadays, being a graphic designer is not enough, because you give service to a business. What about if you can give more service to that business? Because if you create a logo, just a logo for that business, what about if you can help them manage that logo?
Right.
Create a style sheet for that logo, create a brand for it, you get more money.
Because of the package.
Exactly. So I have to learn different aspects of that design that can give me more value.
Right.
And with that value, I can provide that to the customer where I can charge a premium price for it.
Wow. Because a lot of people don't know, you know, we're talking about branding right now. You do a lot of other things. You build websites. You do, shit, I can't even keep up with you. You know, you got to build the websites. You do the graphic design for clients. You do X, Y, and Z. Talk a little bit more about that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, the people calling me. Yeah, I'm in the interview, man. But nah.
That on check.
Yeah. But you know, going back to that, you do more than that. So explain more about like the other things you do, like building websites and how that correlates into the commercial arts and stuff like that.
For me, the art is the skill. That's your skill, but making money is always the goal.
Right.
So if you make the art just for the sake of making the art, how are you gonna survive? Remember, I wasn't born here. I have family to take care of. So the more skill I can learn, I just jump and learn it.
Right.
Because the price you charge for a website is not the same price you charge for a logo. So why don't you just learn how to create the design so you can charge more? You see what I mean? And those are the same field.
Because you have a whole package.
Exactly.
You bring something to the table.
Because most likely, if you need a logo, guess what? You're gonna need a business card. Not only that, you're gonna need to print the business card.
Right. Yeah.
And most people, they probably need that logo on a shirt and a website. So by you learning the process, they call it upsell.
Right.
How are you gonna upsell that person? If you just create a logo and call it a day, you're losing money.
Right.
Because somebody else gonna use that logo and put it on the shirt. Why don't you do it?
Right.
Somebody else gonna use that logo you create to create a website. Why don't you create the website yourself?
I'm laughing because this is what this is what we did recently, even with the guide sheet. You know what I'm saying? That goes all that.
Exactly.
You know. So after school, what was next for you? Graduating from technical school out here.
Oh, when I'm done with Lindsay, man, that's when I was trying to be in the computer,
Right.
being an IT person. It didn't work out. I dropped out in college and I pushed my business full time. I become a full time freelancer.
Oh, so you didn't officially graduate here?
No. At Lindsay, I was done.
Okay. Oh,
but I
but
tried,
the
exactly.
school-
I still
okay,
tried
okay.
to learn more.
Okay.
And I dropped out, so I become a full time freelancer.
Okay.
Because I have so many demand, people asking me for business logo, T-shirt. I'm like, you know what? Let me do that full time.
So, you out of high school. I mean, not high school. You got a technical school, or you done you tried IT or whatever the case may be. How did you end up reaching out to people to have potential clients over time? Like, what was the mindset after that and the steps?
In 2005, they didn't have a lot of people doing graphic design. So that gives you a plus in the market because right now we got a lot of people doing it. It's saturated right now. But back then it was easy. Like if let's say you're going to anywhere in Miami, there's a lot of plaza with a lot of businesses. So you go door to door, offer a business card for it. So you're gonna get the business because they already have businesses, so they need service. Just introduce yourself, let them know what you can do, and if they hire you, good. If not, they still remember it because you have your business card, you give them out,
Right.
and they called you eventually.
So, by you doing all of that, like, did you get, because this is your first time really out of school.
Even before I was done with the school, I already had the client. That's the beauty of it.
Okay.
That's why I always tell my students, don't wait when you graduate to make your money because you get the experience while you're in school.
Yeah. We talk about that all the time.
Yeah, that's the best way. If you wait when you graduate, you're not going to have, you're going to be shy by doing it. You don't have that experience. You don't have the communication to convince or sell a client. But while you're in school, you can do it because you have the teacher that can help you do it or the student can help you do it.
Because once you're out, you're not going to have that
Exactly.
system.
You don't have that support system.
And you're not going to have that lesson as well, too. So you had clients in school, but once you fully didn't have school, like did you kind of get overwhelmed? Did you
my first the teacher was my client too. It's funny, right?
That's crazy.
How
the hell you a teacher?
Okay, but the thing about me
that was a plot twist.
Yeah, I do graphic as a business.
Right.
I don't just teach it. Some teacher they just teach it. They don't do it as business. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
I have the whole business, which is graphic. Back then, they just teach it. They don't even know where to print because they just teach the art. You see what I mean?
They're just doing it by the book.
Exactly. That's why I tell most people I'm not a teacher. I mean, I'm a graphic designer, so I'm involved. I know it front and back.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy. The
funny thing is, the teacher didn't have a business card because he got a full-time job teaching.
He after I clock out, I'm done.
So I got a business card. Give him a business card and say, where do you print it? Yeah. So
that's crazy.
It is.
That's crazy because I could imagine that because I had teachers that, when I went to Miami-Dade College, like you teaching this, but I don't really see. Do you do it? Yeah, I don't really see. And then you critique my work.
Exactly.
So I look at you weird.
So most teachers, they just teach it. Teacher, that's the profession, not graphic designer. Right. There's a difference.
Right. So how did you, over time, I can only imagine you got clients, you got your own business and everything like that. So when did you start teaching officially?
It's funny because me and my homeboy, David in Little Haiti, we had a shop doing screen printing shirt. So the principal of the school went to that shop to print some Haitian for the Flag Day.
All right.
So she offered David a job to teach, and David declined it because David said, you know what, it's Pousye that teach me what I'm doing right now. So if you really need someone to teach, call Pousye. And she said, who's Pousye? Right now it's not here because back then I was driving trucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she sent me a text saying, you know, David referred me to you. If you're interested, I got a job for you. And I was debating, should I take it or not?
Right.
So when I decided to take it, we talked, and she didn't know I was going to school here back then because she wasn't the principal back then. So I got all the qualification and everything. So next thing you know, I accept the job. I started part-time first.
So why teaching overall? Like, what made you like, yo, okay, I'm gonna accept this, but you know, it's gonna take a lot out of you. But why teaching overall?
We all teachers, but we not really admit it. We all got something to teach others. Parents are teachers, but when you think about it, in my opinion, I'm not saying that because I'm a teacher. I think teachers should get paid the most,
Right.
because the doctors come from the teachers. The president came from the teachers. You see what I mean? So we make a lot of differences when it's come to teaching.
Right.
So not only that, I'm getting paid to be better at what I'm doing. When I'm teaching you, I become better. If there's a challenge, I don't know how to solve it. I'll learn about that. So I'm learning what I'm teaching. That's the best profession, man. That's
Wow.
the best thing to do, teach.
Yeah, because if you think
You're
about
getting
it,
paid to do it.
if you think about it over time, you taking the time and energy
Exactly.
to teach another person or just another kid, just to.
And students challenge you, so you have to be in your toe when you're doing it. So you go back to the research, you go back to study, you go back to learn the craft because you have to teach it the right way.
It's like a playbook.
Exactly, and you're getting paid for it.
Right. Yeah, like, cause when I was young, I look sometimes even during the quarantine, like when the quarantine just happened, I was just like looking back in my past and thinking about the teachers that had like influenced my life to
Exactly.
this day. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, like I remember X, Y, and Z, and it's like, yeah, like the teachers really have makes a difference between a person's life, and a lot of people don't, like an everyday person don't really think about that, you know.
I fell in love with business in the U.S. because one of my teachers, and graphic teachers.
Wow. Wow. So let's talk about Pousye. That's how you say it?
Pousye, yes,
Pousye.
sir.
You know, I'm learning a little Creole right now. You feel me?
I know it sounds funny, but I got a lot of backslash for that name, man.
Why you say that?
There's, mispronunciation. They call me Pussyhead. I don't know if I can say that.
You can say that.
I don't know if I can say that. You can bleep it, dog.
No,
Yeah,
yeah, for you, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll believe it.
Yo, them white girl, man, they call me, since they know I'm a teacher, they say, Mr. Pussyhead. I'm like, what? Yo, it's Pousye. Yeah, it's Pousye. Yeah, it's funny. That's mean dust, D-U-S-T in Creole. So,
But why that name overall?
I was into poetry and rap Creole in Haiti. You know,
Right.
you already got a stage name. So the stage name is Pousye because back then I was reading the Bible a lot. And in Genesis, one thing I know, like they use dust to create human. We all dust. So dust is Pousye. So I call myself Pousye. And everybody is dust. If the Bible is true, everybody is dust. So
Right.
I just call my name Pousye, dust.
So what's the overall brand about? Like, you know, I know it's like a service as well too.
Oh
right?
yeah. That's funny. People didn't know that wasn't my real name because nobody knew me before. So they heard Pousye, they called it Pousye. So I sold one of my painting back then. They give me a check and they put Pousye on that check, and I couldn't catch that check.
That'd be the worst.
Pousye is not on my name. So you know what? I created an LLC using Pousye Plus with that, so I can carry that check in the business. That's how I get my business in the U.S. So check is cash, and I learn a lot about businesses, and I use that name to brand myself because it's unique. If I use Robert, there's so many Robert in the U.S. Mr. Joseph, there's so many Mr. Joseph in the U.S., but Pousye is unique. Is unique, so I use Pousye for my business.
Well, because, you know, we just talked about that recently, a couple weeks ago, about it falls back into the branding perspective, everything
it
like
is.
that.
Because you have to be unique though.
Yeah. Oh, of course, because it's a lot of brands out here.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, we still got to compete no matter
Exactly.
what. A lot of people don't want to compete. Like, I understand.
Life
Like,
itself is a competition, man.
right. Like, I understand that, you know, you only could compete with yourself, but at the end of the day, you still going to have to go out and compete.
Yeah, like you have to be better today than you was yesterday, but at the
Right.
same time, so while you better today, you better than somebody else.
Right. Right.
Because the amount of time you spend studying, some people playing video games. They watch Netflix. There's a lot. It's a competition.
Mm-hmm. At the end of the day. So, you know, you got the Haitian Hustler. Talk more about that. Like, what made you? I think it's a smart idea, by the way.
Yeah, the Haitian Hustler is my other brand. I got that from my painting. Just like I said before, I used to paint a lot of people that selling stuff. I don't know, I can say probably like 80 to 90% people in Haiti, their income is by selling stuff. It's not
80%.
Yeah, there's no employment where you can go look for a job. Most people that make money in Haiti, they have to sell either water, anything they can sell in the street. That's the hustle.
Right.
So me growing up, see my mom selling, my cousin, all the people that I know, my neighbor, everybody selling some stuff to make a living, to survive. I used to sell my painting. Most people think I was an artist, but I'm more like a seller because I do it and I have to sell it. Because if you do it, you don't know how to sell it, you're not making money.
Right.
So you have to know how to sell. So when I didn't know they would hustle mean a lot in the U.S. because dealing drug they still call the same.
Especially in Miami.
A lot of people say like, what do you mean Haitian hustler? We don't sell drug. We don't do it. It's not about that. So the fact that we survive everyday struggle, we hustlers. The fact that I can make you buy my cell phone, that's hustle. So it doesn't have to be drugs. It doesn't have to be anything negative to it. But the thing is, I created one shirt for myself. Next thing you know, most people ask for it, and that's become the business.
Right.
Print shirt and sell.
Right.
And now we use the Haitian Hustler platform to teach people how to do the same, how to sell stuff, how to be an entrepreneur. So it's a whole platform about business.
Right. I like that because, you know, I feel like you don't even have to be a Haitian. It's just overall.
No, it's just the same. Even I get a chance to meet Wickwas. He know about the movement. You see, everybody got the Haitian hustle on them because we are the first black nation.
Right, 1804.
So we have to be hustler to fight
Right.
whoever was the slave master to get that freedom. That's a big hustler movement.
Yeah, especially like in Miami, you know, growing up in Miami over the years, it's just like, it's always been a respect thing, just seeing y'all culture. You know, just like I take real pride in. We talking about history as black history. Y'all was like the first ones to win.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny, like when they not incorporate Haitian in black history because we are the first black nation to get the freedom.
Right.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's deep in the right.
So so the Haitian hustler is not just for Haitian. Anybody that can relate to it. Like sometimes you're leaving, you see the next day, you don't know how you're gonna make it tonight. You don't know where your food coming from. You don't know how you're gonna do anything.
Right.
But you hustle anyway to make a
that.
living. That's the Haitian hustler.
And you earn that.
Yeah.
You know.
That's the Haitian
the
hustler.
hard work and you know, dedication or whatever. What would you say is honestly your best artwork or your best graphic or just design as a whole overall, if you could choose? I know that's a hard question. I ask everybody this, but in your opinion, what would you say?
Now I'm a teacher. I think the best artwork is my student, man. The fact that I get someone from not knowing anything to create the art, that's my best artwork. Because I don't compete right now, because I don't even do art no more. Because I focus more on the business side of art. Because if I take time making art, I'm not making money.
Real shit though, real shit.
If I take time to make art, I'm not making money, but I study the business in general. But to give you like an answer for that, I think all my latest art, I always try to, whatever art I'm doing, try to get it better than the previous one. So my latest art always the best one for me, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You might like the one that I did like 2 years ago. That's you. You see what I mean? But for me,
your perspective is
even if it's just
because your mind, the way that you create your mind. That's why I say it's okay to get people. I think we had the discussion with one of my classmates. Like, you know, they're afraid to have somebody copy their work. as in like your artwork, and it's like, okay, let them copy, but
Of
my
course.
mind is already
exactly.
like,
Because in order for you to copy, I need to produce.
right.
So if I don't produce, you ain't got nothing to copy.
got my
so
last thing.
exactly. So you can always create more art.
Right.
But yeah, there's one I post on my Instagram. I messed up my face, and I use Photoshop for it. A lot of people love it. And the caption was so dope. So I think that's one of my best art.
So we about to end. We got a couple more questions left. What is one thing you wish you learned back then on what you know now, and what would you have changed as well too?
Being consistent. So not just doing things for the sake of doing it or tell people, you know what, I do that, but being consistent and focus and do it for the reason you're doing it.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of people that doing it just to show off that, you know what, I can sing. You just do it not for you.
Right.
To brag that you can do it.
Right.
Or I can paint, I can draw, I can, whatever you're doing. I play the piano. They're just doing it for
Just to do it.
Yeah, but if I knew how to get focused in one thing and get better at it, I think that's the thing I was doing.
Yeah,
because that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, because you brought up, people just showing it off, and we see it all the time on Instagram.
Yep.
We talk about this in school as well, like not having the purpose of doing it, because at the end of the day, life is all about a longevity of it, winning the race overall, having the longevity, not even just life, it's just your career, just having the longevity, everything, because at the end of the day, how many people we probably seen, running the marathon and they just fall off.
Yeah, that's one thing too, and I think make up your mind is one of the things people don't really pay attention to. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. If you tell me right now you're hungry, right, and I say what you wanna eat, you tell me I don't know.
Right.
How are you gonna help me solve your problem?
Right.
Growing up, that's the way I was. Like, you don't know what you wanna do for life. Like, you wanna be artist, you wanna be graphic designer, illustration. What is it? If you don't know, I cannot solve your problem.
Right.
So if I knew how to make up my mind to go after what I want, you would put all your energy to just do that instead of spread everything out.
Right. So any advice for the people that want to take the similar path that you took?
Become a graphic designer or hustler?
Overall.
Just like I said, know what you want to do and doing it for the right cause. Don't do it to let people know you're doing it. Just do it because that's what you want to do.
Right.
You see what I mean? Once you do it, like, you narrow the path. It's like a tunnel. You narrow the path and you can easily become what you want to become, because you already know. Let's say you want to become a graphic designer. You know you're not going to read all the books, so you're going to focus on graphic designer book. But if you don't know what you want to do, you're going to read all the books. So sometimes the book is good, but if you want to become a graphic designer, you're reading a nursing book. Yes, you're reading, but they're not going to help you become a graphic designer.
Right.
So you have to find your purpose so you can focus all your time to that, and it's going to help you better.
How would you, what was one advice, because we talked about this earlier off air, about having that tunnel vision. What is the steps, or not even just the steps, what would you advise how should I say this? Like, what would you advise to somebody to have the mindset of just staying focused? About reading and stuff like that, or just overall in your perspective?
You can do the pros and cons. You wanna become healthy. What is the pros? What is the con? Because time is time consuming. You have to eat right. The pros can be the con can be the pros based on what you're doing. So once you find out what is the pros, what is the con, if you still want to do it, just do it. It's what I mean. Just do it.
All right. So that's really it, man. How can people get in contact with you?
Oh, that's pretty.
Or hire you. You know what I'm saying? He booed you a little bit. I'm playing.
I mean, Instagram is the best way, because the Instagram is Pousye. It's Pousye, and that's it. The Haitian Hustler, the same way.
All right.
So from Instagram, you can get my website and phone numbers, and that's it. I think Instagram is the first step.
Yeah. So it's an honor to interview you.
Yo, 42, man. That's a lot, man. I want to congratulate you too for that. That's
What?
your show is 42.
Oh yeah. It's so crazy. I don't. Sometimes I gotta sit back and look at the number.
Yo, that's a lot. That's why we was talking about consistency. Most people start 15, they already let off. They're tired. Like 42, that's a lot, man.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
We gotta keep on going.
Yep.
I wanna be like Joe Rogan. Do
it for a lifetime, man.
1,000 interviews or whatever the case may be. But yeah, man. This is episode 42 with my teacher / mentor. And that's it. We out.
Thanks, man.